Hi, everybody. Welcome to the latest episode of the SCU show. I'm your host, SCU. It's episode number 80. I'm rocking the Mass Wolves shirt once again because as of this weekend, the Mass Wolves have clinched the playoff spot in the American Basketball Association. So that's great news for the Mass Wolves. Obviously, been part of that team since the end of October when we started our season. So congratulations to the Wolves. Good luck to Dante Law, one of our players. He's got signed by the Basketball League, so congratulations to him. He'll be missed. But we got a lot of work to do yet. The playoffs begin March 11th, so we got a few games left. But Mass Wolves officially in the playoffs. Okay, enough of that. Let's get to the good stuff here at SCU show number 80. And let's get to the XFL, because that's where we'll be starting every week from here on out. So XFL kick off their next season. Another rebrand here. Week 1. What a week 1 it was, right? It was very entertaining stuff. I said last week, I thought Vegas was going to win the title. Vegas couldn't get out of their own way in week 1. And I don't want to overreact, but I'm going to overreact. They held a 14-3 lead over Dallas, the Renegades, late in the game. Luis Perez was the quarterback. He had thrown a couple dimes, especially his second touchdown. I was really big on his second touchdown. He threw it to a wide-open receiver for a touchdown. I was like, wow. And here come the Vipers, and I knew this was going to happen. They're going to be great. And then Luis Perez winds up throwing 2 pick sixes, and the Vipers lose by 8. And I'm like, what? Come on, Vegas, get it together. What are you doing? You have one of the top quarterbacks in the league, in Luis Perez. You have a 14-3 lead against Dallas, they have a good team. We talked about it last week. They have Sam Cannella, their tight end. They got Kyle Slaughter. Bob Stoops is their coach. They got a talented team. But you have a 14-3 lead. You got to finish, man. I always say about this. I always say this about a lot of things. It's not how you start in life. It's how you finish. And unfortunately for Vegas, they just could not finish that game against Dallas. It's a shame, really is a shame, because they pretty much controlled the whole game, and then they just blew it. It was over, just like that. It was, 14-3, and then 2 pick sixes later, Dallas is up by 8. They wound up winning, I think it was like 22-14. Terrible performance by the Vipers, but again, it's week 1. So let's not overreact, all right? I'm not going to overreact. I think Vegas will eventually bounce back. They got this. I still think they're going to win the championship this year because I still think they have the best talented team in the XFL, so we'll have to see what happens. But that first game, that was disappointing. Vegas, get it together, please, for me. If anybody, do it for me. You should really do it for yourselves, but you really should do it for me too. All right, next game up, we have Jesus. Here we go. There we go. The Orlando Guardians. What the hell was that? First of all, I went to Applebee's to watch this game, and I was like, wait, they're starting Paxton Lynch? What? Are you kidding me? We know who Paxton Lynch is, right? He's the second worst quarterback to ever play in the NFL behind maybe the third. Give Jamarcus Russell and Ryan Leaf. Obviously, Ryan Leaf was the worst. And Jamarcus Russell was the first overall pick in 2007. He was god-awful. But Paxton Lynch is your starting quarterback? He's got to be the third worst quarterback to ever play in the NFL. The first-round pick in 2016. I was a Cowboys fan. I was so glad the Cowboys didn't take him. Denver took him, and it worked out. Didn't work out at all for them. And, well, I'll give credit to Paxton Lynch. He started out through a touchdown to Cody Latimer, who, by the way, I said would be the top 10 in the league. And by the way, that pass I thought was intercepted. If you go back and look at that first touchdown from the Guardians, it looked like an interception in the end zone. But Cody Latimer made an amazing catch behind the receiver, caught it behind his helmet or something like that for the touchdown. So the good job by Paxton Lynch throwing a touchdown. It was a bad throw, though. I really thought it was an interception. And then from there, the entire team was crapshoot, but Paxton Lynch was your quarterback. That was your first mistake if you're Orlando. God, come on. You should have known. Paxton Lynch was not your guy. There's no way in hell he was your guy. I don't understand why you started him. I don't remember who the backup was. I know that DeAndre Francois, who I said should have started. He was inactive for this game, which, okay, fine. Put in the other guy then. And eventually they did. Smart move by the Guardians. They should have never started Paxton Lynch in the first place. Then the other guy comes in. He throws a wide open touchdown as well. Guardians look a little better, but unfortunately the Houston Roughnecks, who, by the way, I said I didn't understand why they're the favorite in the title. We'll get to that in a little later, but the Houston Roughnecks look pretty damn good after week 1. They had 4 interceptions against the Guardians offense. It was an incredible performance by Houston. They're doing something. They might be doing something special there that I did not see coming into this season, but as of right now, hell of a performance by the Roughnecks week 1. Guardians, you already knew you should not have started Paxton Lynch. That was your mistake. Not that the offense didn't struggle in general, but you shouldn't have gone with the other guy. I don't remember who it was, but you definitely should not have gone with Paxton Lynch to start the season. Come on. And now the reports are that the Guardians are going to start DeAndre Francois next week. He will be active. He will be the starter. So I'm hoping for a better performance from Orlando next week. We'll get to that in a moment. We got some more games to get to here from week number 1. And we move on to the next game. Let's see what we got here. Oh, here we go. Oh, this was a good one, actually. A very interesting game. Now, I said last week, what is a Brahma? I still don't know what a Brahma is. I have somebody on Facebook told me it was a type of cow. I didn't really look it up. I don't know. But I do know the Brahmas, they have a pretty good defense. They controlled. Now, that game was boring against the St. Louis Battlehawks. It was a crapshoot game. It was crap. It was 3-3 heading into the fourth quarter. Like 11 minutes left in the game. These two teams were tied at 3. That's how bad it was. But the point is, San Antonio had a 15-3 lead over St. Louis with under 2 minutes left. In any football game, that's over. It's over. No way the other team comes back and wins the game. Lo and behold, here come the Battlehawks. AJ McCarron, who, by the way, I meant to mention this last week on the show. I didn't. I was worried about him going to this one and didn't know if he was going to be the best great quarterback that everybody thinks he is. Well, lo and behold, AJ McCarron was the great quarterback that we thought he was. He threw 2 touchdowns in the final minute and a half, and the Battlehawks get the win in San Antonio. What a win for the Battlehawks. Good job for St. Louis. Really love to see that. AJ McCarron, obviously emotional after the win. He should be. I mean, he led his team down 15-3 in the final 2 minutes, final minute and a half, nonetheless, to a victory in Week 1 of the XFL. So congratulations to AJ McCarron. Congratulations to the Battlehawks. And maybe San Antonio. I still don't know what a Brahma is, but your team might just be good. By the way, XFL championship will be in San Antonio on May 13th. Maybe you'll see the Brahmas there. I mean, again, it's Week 1. Let's not overreact. But we'll see what happens. Good performance by the Brahmas. But again, like with Vegas, it's not how you start. It's how you finish. And you guys finished pretty bad. And the final game, which I didn't really pay much attention to, was a good game. The Sea Dragons were in D.C. to take on the Defenders. And I said it last week. I was big on it last week, and I'll be big on it again. Ben DiNucci and Josh Gordon, the top duo in the XFL. And what do you know? Lo and behold, the first score of the game, Ben DiNucci pitches a shovel pass to Josh Gordon for the touchdown. And I was like, you gotta love it. It's beautiful, in the words of Jim Carrey from Bruce Almighty. Beautiful. And then they held an 18-8 lead at one point over DC. And then here comes the defense for DC, and they had the interception. They had a pick six. There were a lot of pick sixes in this first week for the XFL. There's a lot of them. At least 3. But there's probably more than that. And so Ben DiNucci throws the pick 6, and I was like, oh boy. And then obviously DC wound up winning the game 22-18. So DC, I mean, I think they're one of the top 4 teams right now after week 1. But the story of the game was actually the fans. They made something called, I think it was called a beer snake, where they put all their beer cups together, or they finished the drinks, and they put, make a snake. Well, one of the security guards or somebody took it away from them, and they were pretty pissed. What did they do? And I guess this makes football fun, I guess. You never see this in NFL. They started throwing lemons on the field. They threw lemons on the field. What? What is going on here in DC? What is going on? So that was pretty much the story of the game. The game was okay. I was glad that DiNucci and Josh Gordon hooked up for the touchdown. But other than that, it was like, lemons? Really? Okay. So we'll see. So that's it for week 1. Very exciting week 1. Vegas and Orlando, my 2 favorites. Very disappointing. More Orlando than Vegas. The Brahmas look good. They proved me wrong as of right now. Shout out to AJ McCarron, who's also proven me wrong. So I've been wrong a lot this first week. Thank God there's another 2 months left of this stuff. And DC, well, at least Ben DiNucci found Josh Gordon for a touchdown. That's all I really care about. And that is your week 1 XFL wrap up here on the SCU show. SCU show number 80. I'm your host, SCU. We are off next week. I am going to New Jersey after a concert on Saturday, so very busy weekend. Going to be traveling on Monday, so no show next week. And after that, I will be back the following week. But the week after, I'll be going to Disney World, so I'm very excited for that. Just putting that out there. It's going to be fun. All right, well, we've talked about week 1. Let's get to week 2. It actually starts tomorrow. The Sea Dragons host the Battlehawks. This is a very interesting game. I would call them talented quarterbacks. Ben DiNucci going up against AJ McCarron. I think it's going to be an interesting game. I really do. Obviously, I like Ben DiNucci and the combo of him and Josh Gordon. I hope they find each other for 2 touchdowns in week 2. That'd be awesome. And obviously, you have the comeback kid and AJ McCarron in St. Louis. So you got two interesting stories here coming into this one. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take the Sea Dragons to win this one because they had a 10-point lead, which is technically a 2-score game. If it was a 9-point league, it would have been a 1-score game in the XFL over the DC Defenders, who I think are very talented. Meanwhile, the Battlehawks, I know I just gave credit to the Brahmas and their defense, but the Battlehawks, I mean, you were down 15-30 with 2 minutes left. You should not have won that game. And I don't think you win here in Seattle on Thursday. So I'll go ahead and give the Sea Dragons their first win. And then also the Battlehawks, both teams will go to 1-1 after 2 weeks. And the next game, we got the Vipers. Oh, boy. Vipers and the Defenders. How about this one? This is going to be an interesting game, I hope. The Vipers play at Cashman Field, which is actually a baseball field in Vegas. Weird, but okay. I guess they know XFL had problems finding an actual stadium for them. As Allegiant Stadium wasn't available this time around. So the Vipers will host the Defenders, and actually after what we saw week 1, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take the upset here. I think Vegas bounces back. I don't think Luis Perez throws 2 pick sixes again. I mean, come on. That's not going to happen. I don't think DC gets any pick sixes like they did last week. So I think, again, both teams will go to 1-1. Vegas, I'll take them to get the first win on their home turf in Vegas at Cashman Field. So there you go. Vegas and the Sea Dragons, the first 2 winners. The next 2 games, we got Orlando and the Brahmas. This is probably the least interesting game of the weekend for me. Obviously, again, I just hope that the Guardians do better starting DeAndre Francois. Really do. I think they will be much better with him under center. And the Brahmas, I mean, look at that defense. Did you see what they did against the Battlehawks? That was an amazing defense. Amazing defensive performance. So it's going to be a great game. I'm taking Orlando because I think that DeAndre Francois will prove to me that him under center is better, obviously, than Paxton Lynch. I think everybody can agree with that. But I think that the Guardians will get their first win. And then again, so we have 3 games now. By the end of the first 3 games of the week 2, 6 of the 8 teams will be 1-1. And then the last game, probably the best interesting game because of what we saw week 1, Houston and Dallas, the Roughnecks and the Renegades. That's gonna be a hell of a game. 2 defenses that really stepped up. Both of them had a lot of interceptions. I think Roughnecks had 4, and obviously Renegades had 2 pick sixes on Luis Perez for the Vipers. So I think it's gonna be a defensive battle, and I'm gonna go with the Roughnecks because I really like what I saw week 1. Very impressive. They have Jordan Tom, who I believe is Jordan Tom was the defenders. But anyway, Roughnecks defense really stepped up big time. I think they're gonna do it again here against Kyle Slaughter and this Renegades offense. It's gonna be an interesting game. Maybe Slaughter will have a great game, but I think that the defense for Houston is gonna win them the game, and they're gonna be the first team to go 2-0 in the 2023 XFL season. And that is your week 2 preview for the XFL. Again, SCU show number 80. I'm your host, SCU. We are off next week, so I won't be able to talk about week 2 or preview week 3. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time to talk all the XFL. All right, let's get to the NFL now. There are 2 teams that I want to talk about that I'm very interested in what they're doing. I love what they're doing. I really do. Let's start with Carolina. Talked about it a little bit before. They hired Frank Reich as their head coach. This is another thing. They just hired D'Angelo Hall as a defensive assistant coach. That, I think, is very interesting. Obviously, he hasn't been around the NFL in a while besides being with the NFL Network. But I think he's going to be a key factor to the Panthers' defense, by the way, led by Brian Burns. I'm glad the Panthers didn't get rid of him because there were talks about that a few years ago. Get rid of Brian Burns, your top guy. Why would you do that? Now the Panthers are looking like they can win the NFC South this year, which I think they might. You don't want to get rid of Brian Burns on that defense. No way. So I like the Frank Reich hire. I like the D'Angelo Hall hire. Now you got to go get Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr is the perfect fit for the Panthers this year. I mean, come on, he's the best. He's a talented quarterback. He is top 15 quarterback in the league. Let's not question that. Top 15 quarterback in the league. He can get it done. And if he does go to the Panthers, yes, you got to get him some receivers. But then you look at the rest of the NFC South. Look at Tampa. I mean, they just lost Tom Brady. He just retired. So, and I'm very interested in what Tampa's going to bring to the table. But the thing is, Tampa's not going to be good. Let me just put that out there right now. Because if Kyle Trask is the starting quarterback, God almighty, good luck to the Bucs. Because everybody knows Kyle Trask. And I was a big fan of him at Florida. But Kyle Trask is a bust. Just like we talked about many other guys being busts, Kyle Trask is one of them. And him being under center for Tampa Bay, there's no way in hell they're getting to the NFC South title once again this year. Even with Mike Evans, Russell Gage if he returns, Julio Jones if he returns. I just don't. It all starts with the quarterback and offense. And if Kyle Trask is your quarterback, what do you got? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You got nothing. And then obviously you talk about Atlanta. I mean, they're starting a second-year guy next year, Desmond Ritter, because Marcus Mariota got in his feels and walked out literally at the end of the year. And we got rid of Calvin Ridley, who obviously gambled and got suspended for the year, but now he's with Jacksonville. So now we got Atlanta, not much there. New Orleans, I mean, your best quarterback plays every position. Taysom Hill is your best quarterback, and he's also a receiver. He's a tight end. He can play defense if you wanted him to. He could be a punter if you wanted him to. So what does that say about the New Orleans Saints? Not much. Nothing. No credit to Dennis Allen. He did get the Saints to a 7-10 record with Andy Dalton, but Andy Dalton being a 10+ year veteran, you think he'd do better than 7 wins. Plus the whole Michael Thomas thing is a big mess. He just never plays anymore. I'm also get rid of him too. Now you have no top receiver. You have Chris Olave. He's coming into his second year. Have you heard of the sophomore slump? Yeah, there's a chance that happens for Chris Olave. Meanwhile, you got Derek Carr. If Derek Carr comes in, you got some receivers. You have a very special team in Carolina. I think they should go get him. I think Derek Carr should sign with the Panthers, either or, however they want to work that. The Panthers and Derek Carr should come together. And him, Frank Reich, and a couple of talented receivers along with D'Angelo Hall, Brian Burns, and that defense, the Carolina Panthers are shoo-ins to win the NFC South in 2023. I'm calling it now. I think the Carolina Panthers, they're going to be a team to watch next season in the NFL. And we go to another team that I think is going to be a very talented team, and I love this, and I wish I had a jersey for this, because I made a joke with my friends that I am now a Washington Commanders fan, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I'm not going to be a fan. I just love what the Commanders are doing right now. The Washington Commanders signed Eric Bieniemy from the Kansas City Chiefs. He won the last two Super Bowls in the last 4 years with the Chiefs as their offensive coordinator, but he didn't call plays, so now he's going to call plays in Washington, and that's great. You'll love to see that. Eric Bieniemy's got to be the best coordinator in the league, and now he'll have a chance to have a head coaching job the next year or maybe 2 or 3. But that's not the story that I'm interested in. The story I'm interested in is who their quarterback's going to be next year, because you already know it's not going to be Carson Wentz. Thank God for that. The Washington Commanders, Ron Rivera, has announced that the Commanders are looking forward to Sam Howell starting at quarterback for the Washington Commanders in 2023. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. That's the best move the Commanders can make all offseason long. I think it's amazing that they're bringing in their third-round rookie from last year. He's going to learn. He's learned from Taylor Heineke. Taylor Heineke is a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. I don't care what anybody says. Everybody's going to ridicule me for that one. But he is a talented quarterback, and now he has Sam Howell, who's going to be taking over for him. I don't understand why they don't go with Taylor Heineke, but okay, that's fine. You got Eric Bieniemy, so you got Terry McLaurin, you got Curtis Samuel, you got Jahan Dotson, who's coming to, I believe, his second year as well. So Washington Commanders' offense is very talented, and I think, this is crazy, right? You can think I'm crazy saying this. I think that Sam Howell could be the next Brock Purdy. Yeah, I know. Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. How's it going to be the same? Third-round pick. Brock Purdy took over the league. Did you see what he did when he took over the 49ers last year? We took him to the NFC Championship game. And honestly, I could see the Commanders being a team to go to the NFC Championship game with Sam Howell, with that offense. If you get a couple more pieces in defense in the draft, you figure that out. Commanders, I love what you got going on here. I love it. Eric Bieniemy, that's great. I hope he's a great play caller. He's never called plays before, so we're going to find out. Sam Howell, again, he's going to take over the league. I'll give it 6 weeks. By week 6, he's going to be the top storyline in the NFL. Sam Howell, quarterback, Washington Commanders. He is going to be spectacular. I cannot wait to watch Sam Howell finally take over. I was so happy when the Commanders took him in the draft last year. I was like, yes, thank you. Fine. Thank you for doing that. Do yourself a favor, because he's a mobile quarterback. You know how I feel about mobile quarterbacks. If you've watched this show in the past, I love my mobile quarterbacks. So I love Sam Howell. Love the hire Eric Bieniemy. I love what the Commanders are doing in 2023. They and the Panthers could be teams that I could see making a run in the NFC next year. All right, so there you go. That loaded show here. We got a lot still coming. Hope my camera holds up here and we get a nice long show this time. All right, so we'll talk about the Commanders, talk about the Panthers. Both teams love what they're doing, right? Yeah, I do. What I don't love right now is Philadelphia. They just lost both of their coordinators. One of them is now the Colts head coach. One of them is now the Cardinals head coach. Both teams are dumpster fires. Good luck to both of them, though. And the Eagles linebackers coach is now also in Arizona. He is the offensive coordinator, or the defensive coordinator, one of those two, for the Cardinals. So now that is 3 coordinators the Eagles have lost right after losing the Super Bowl. So now the pressure's on, right? The pressure's on. 100%. The pressure is on Jalen Hurts. There's no question about it. Jalen Hurts is going to have to be, he's going to be the reason the Eagles are successful in 2023. And I think he can do it. I really do. I mean, come on. We've seen Jalen Hurts in the past. Bama, he led the Crimson Tide to the national championship. Yes, he got benched after a bad first half against Georgia. I mean, okay, that's fine. Credit to Tua for bringing him back, winning the game in overtime. Last play of the game. Oklahoma, he took him to the playoffs. Yeah, credit to Lincoln Riley. That's cool. But Jalen Hurts did it a lot himself. And obviously, passing and running. Talented quarterback. You already know. He was a Heisman runner-up, Super Bowl runner-up, MVP runner-up. Yes, he's been in second place, which is good enough to tell me that Jalen Hurts can be successful in the NFL. He's going to continue to do his thing next year. Obviously, you still got A.J. Brown, and you still got Devonta Smith, who both, by the way, top 10 receivers in the league last year. So I think the pressure is on the Eagles big time, especially what I just said about the Panthers and Commanders. But I do think Jalen Hurts can lead this team back to the playoffs next year. It's going to be them and the Commanders in the NFC East. It's going to be interesting to see how things play out. But again, it's all on Jalen Hurts, and I think he's the man that can get it done in Philadelphia. Very excited for Jalen. I've always loved Jalen Hurts. Him at Alabama, when he went to Oklahoma. Love that he was taking over Carson Wentz. That's just an icing on the cake type thing right there, though. That's just me. All right, last topic of the day after this loaded SCU show number 80. Let's get to the final thing. We'll do this every week to wrap up the show. The XFL Power Rankings. Gotta love these. I love these. Let's start with number 8. We already know who it is. It's Orlando. Crap performance. Again, that was their mistake starting not Carson Wentz. Paxton Lynch. You should never start him. Sure started the other guy. Obviously, J.J. Francois will start this week for the Guardians against San Antonio. Thank God. Hopefully they'll be better. But that's what happens. I mean, the whole offense was abysmal, but come on. Paxton Lynch? At least the other guy, we might have given you a more fighting chance. Guardians, number 8. Number 7. It's the Brahmas. I mean, yes, I talk about what a great defense they have there in San Antonio, or had there. They also had a great 15-3 lead with a minute 26 left. What happened to that? They blew it. They lost in front of their home crowd. By the way, the biggest home crowd of week 1. Obviously, a lot of disappointing attendance numbers, but I mean, that was just a bad performance there by the Brahmas. Number 7. Number 6, Vegas. I hate to say it. I mean, my championship favorite, number 6. But when you throw not just one, but 2 pick sixes like that, you deserve to be in the bottom half of these XFL power rankings. Come on, Lose Prize, get it together. Vegas, get it together. Let's go. We got to win this championship here for me. Vegas still number 6 after week 1. Number 5 is Seattle. Again, Ben DiNucci, Josh Gordon. Beautiful music. First touchdown of the game in D.C., but he blew a 10-point lead. And you had 11-3. So, I mean, what's going on there in Seattle? We'll have to see. There's a big question mark there in Seattle. They are number 5, though, in my power rankings this week. Number 4 is the team that beat Seattle. It's D.C. I love their defense. Obviously, they had a pick 6. They were a key factor in overcoming that 10-point deficit against Seattle. They were key in the victory, all this other stuff. It was great. So, D.C., I like what they have. They have Jordan Ta'amu, best quarterback room in the league, by the way. Jordan Ta'amu. D'Eriq King scored a touchdown, by the way. I believe he caught a touchdown. And they have the other guy, Eric Dungy, who's being compared to Taysom Hill. So maybe we'll see him eventually this season. We'll see. DC is number 4. Number 3 is St. Louis. Yeah, they struggled, but their defense was also almost as good as San Antonio's. So you got to give them a lot of credit as well. As Agent McCarron capped the comeback. Final 2 minutes, 2 touchdown passes, cleared the game winner. To, by the way, Austin Proehl, who scored the first touchdown in the XFL in 2020 with the Dragons, Seattle Dragons back then. He scored the game winner here for the St. Louis Battlehawks. They are number 3 after that miraculous comeback in San Antonio. Number 2 is the Renegades. I love Dallas. They are a very talented team. They have Kyle Slaughter, the quarterback from New Orleans. They have his tight end from New Orleans, Breakers from the USFL, Sam Cannella. Their coach is Bob Stoops. They had 2 pick sixes on Luis Perez, who I could argue is the first or second best spring league quarterback we have seen since spring league football came around in 2016, 2017. Very talented quarterback, and that defense won them the game. Dallas, number 2. And yes, number 1, ladies and gentlemen, is the Houston Roughnecks. Go figure. I said last week, I don't understand why they're title favorite. Well, now they look like a title favorite after week 1. They had 4 interceptions. I know they beat Paxton Lynch. Congratulations. No, they also intercepted the other guy, too. Again, I don't remember his name. That's not relevant because they had such a great game. That's the gist of it. They had a great game against the Guardians. 4 interceptions. and they blew them out. They had the biggest margin of victory. They won by 19 points in week number 1. So there you are, your XFL power rankings from week number 1. And with that, it's been a great show. A lot of energy here. Oh, by the way, thank you to Brandon Estevez, the latest for his studio as always. Forgot to mention that at the beginning of the show because I wanted to get into it. Again, we're off next week. Check out the YouTube channel. Subscribe below, please. A lot going on. We got broadcasts coming up. The ABA playoffs coming up. Got at least one more broadcast with the Mass Wolves here, the regular season on March 5th when I come back from Disney. I'm going to look forward to that. So I'll see you guys when I see you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. This has been episode number 80 of the SCU Show.